before we do get into it, guys, I just want to remind you we do have an ongoing giveaway for match tickets or a shirt of your choice. All that you need to do to qualify for that, very simply, smash that subscribe button, and we give that away every 500 subs, and we are getting close to the next one, so don't miss out. Corey, first one, mate. How are you, most importantly?
I'm not too bad, thank you, Ben. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I think my head was a little bit hotter yesterday than what it is now. I've had time to kind of like simmer down a bit, which is why I thought it'd be a better idea to approach this chat really on a fresher mindset and not completely blow my head off. To be honest with you, because yesterday was frustrating. I think in periods. But I don't think we were particularly that bad. So, first of all, let me know your thoughts, Corey. Where did your head sit at on what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be honest with you, I was very similar to yourself, Ben. I think we spoke a bit yesterday, and my head was all over the place.
Yeah, it was. I had to try and temper you a little bit, to be honest with you.
So I'm normally the positive one, but I was asking for players to never play for Villa again, the whole lot sort of thing. I think obviously in hindsight you look at it and say, did we expect to win at Old Trafford? No, we never do. There was a lot of things that obviously I wasn't too pleased about. The team selection was a bit confusing, but again, that first half I thought we played quite well. It seemed like it was working. And then it was just stupid mistakes, really, that sort of cost us on the day. I think on a different day, it probably could have been a different score. I mean, we will get into, obviously, a couple of certain players from Man United who obviously factored it largely. But from our perspective, it was a frustrating offense. I think I'd love to say that we deserve something better from it, but didn't, and that's the truth of it, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else was affected by Corey's internet there. It just went very laggy, which we do have these technical glitches sometimes that happen on the show, so it kind of is what it is. Yeah, but you are right. Look, I think first half we're okay. I think we started all right. Man United were the better side in terms of chance creation. They definitely looked a lot sharper in the final third, but I don't think that's really difficult when realistically they've got up front Mbeumo, Cunha, and Ahmad, who are much better footballers than what, for example, we've got in. Sorry to say it, but Emi Buendia, Ollie Watkins, to name two, and to be honest with you, at this point, even Morgan Rogers comes into that category because obviously he's been underperforming for the last few weeks or so. Now, I don't think we were bad overall throughout the whole period of the whole game. I just think they had more quality than us. They showed more quality, and their bench definitely helped. It definitely factored. Look, I don't want to sit here and constantly talk about the injuries, but realistically, we have lost two of our best players. That's not neither here or there. Kamara and Tielemans missing for Villa is massive. I think personally, certain players haven't stepped up, and I know I've done content on it over the last few weeks, but I'm sorry, but like the likes of Onana, nowhere near what you pay getting the output from him. It's nowhere near good enough. You look at players like even Watkins. We can talk about Watkins until we're blue in the face. Why Emery keeps persisting with him. Emi Buendia, why is Emery keeps persisting with him? I feel like I'm going into a rant now about all the players now that are the ones that are really starting to rattle me. But it kind of is what it is. Like Luca Digne as well. Like I'm very surprised he's still starting for Villa. I don't understand why Emery is persisting with Tyrone Mings. I don't look. Mings had a good game yesterday. I'm going to put that out there. I thought he was actually pretty decent. But what's Pau Torres done? Has he said something we're not aware of? Because I don't think he's played particularly that bad to be getting the minutes that he currently is for Villa. I don't understand it, especially how good he was for us over the last few, since he's come in. In terms of ball playing, he's massively influential to our system. So why is Emery so all of a sudden decided, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for Tyrone Mings at left centre back, someone who likes to just hoof the ball when he receives it, and realistically his ball playing ability is nowhere near the level of Pau Torres'. Why have we suddenly got rid of that out of the team?
Yeah, I think the weird one is as well for me. I think if Douglas Luiz is playing, I understand playing Tyrone Mings, because the reason Pau Torres worked so well was because of the composure that Boubacar Kamara had. You play the ball into Boubacar Kamara, he's got the composure to sort of take a touch, control the ball, get it under pressure, lay it off to someone else. So we can afford to make those sort of passes. The other two, in terms of Douglas Luiz, I don't think he's maybe got that composure. I understand probably having Mings, so we're not playing that route. But when you've got Barkley playing in the 6, who technically is probably one of our better players on the ball, which says a lot. He's probably the closest thing we've got to Tielemans technically in terms of taking
by
the ball.
far, mate. By far.
That's where I'm surprised. If you're going to start Barkley, I feel like you have to start Pau Torres. I mean, another one, I know obviously it started as a bit of a sort of a jokey meme for us. But Lindelof as well, what's happened to him? Why is he not getting game time?
You're right, mate. 100%. I think during that run that we had, he was massively influential to what we was doing. I don't disagree with what you're saying in the slightest.
I think the thing is with Lindelof is obviously everyone, when he sort of came in, it was sort of like, oh, he's an experienced head, like he'll help us for the Europa League, he won't get many minutes, that sort of thing. And then when he came in and played, it was like, he was almost like a combination of Tyrone Mings and Pau Torres in one. It was a bit of a surprise to everyone. I think like his ball playing ability is brilliant. His ability to carry the ball out from the back, which is what Tyrone Mings can do quite well, is brilliant. He was just sort of like a merge of the two. And I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this player should be dropped because he's been one of our best defenders for a long time. But the way Ezri Konsa's playing as well, it wouldn't surprise if Lindelof deserved to be playing in that position.
Don't, mate. Don't start me on Konsa. I think a lot of Villa fans are starting to notice now. I've seen a few comments going around about Ezri Konsa's performances of late. I think it's since he had the armband when McGinn got injured, his performance levels dipped massively. It's really worrying, to be honest with you. My friend messaged me this morning saying, do you think his head's gone? Do you think he wants to leave in the summer? Who knows?
I think the issue you have, though, is... And this is one thing I'll never understand, is that thing of, oh, do you reckon their head's been turned? It's like, if your head's been turned, you need to be playing at the best level. Because at the moment, he's gone from being a player who could be playing for Man City next to Mark Gahey to a player who shouldn't be playing for Crewe. And that's no offence to Crewe, because they probably deserve better.
I agree with what you're saying to an extent, but so many players these days, mate, not these days, how can I put it? Player power in football is massive. Look at Isak, for example, and players like that. If they want a move, they force a move, and realistically, players these days can down tool and still can get a move. So realistically, it doesn't matter. That's my view on it personally. How you doing, Ant? You're right. Welcome to the chat on YouTube, mate. For those of you listening on TikTok and you probably can't hear Corey, we are live on YouTube now. Just go and search us over there at B6 and Beyond. So, was there any players that stood out for you yesterday and you thought, they had a good performance?
Annoyingly, I think Ross Barkley did well. I think he came in and looked assured of himself as usual. Annoyingly, I do think it was one of his better performances. I do think Buendia had a half decent game in terms of driving forward with the ball. He played a lovely ball into Tammy Abraham in behind. I think he was better than he has been as of late.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there wasn't many that came to mind. I thought Bogard had a good game up until that sort of...
The goal.
Yeah, the goal. I think he had Cunha's number many times. I think the amount of times Cunha tried to go past him and he couldn't. And then obviously, again, he's a young lad. These things are going to happen. And even then, there's still a lot of the phase that goes on after he's beaten Bogard. So for people to say it's completely on Bogard, I mean, I've watched it back today and Leon Bailey just moves out of the way when the ball comes to him.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've gave my thoughts on Leon Bailey multiple times. If I genuinely had my choice, and sadly as fans we don't get that choice, I would pay money not to see Leon Bailey. Like he's finished. He's so finished. But then you could say the same about Watkins as well. Their confidence is so far on the floor. They've both lost pace. They're nowhere near the level that we need. But realistically, it's all we've got at the moment, which is a sad state of affairs, really, isn't it?
I think that's the thing. I mean, one of the biggest things I look at and say is one thing we don't do often enough is use Ollie Watkins' heading ability. He's a brilliant header of the ball, but we don't cross the ball into him.
No, we don't cross the ball.
But again, another one of those problems comes from the fact that the wingers we have aren't quick enough. Like Leon Bailey, other than against Chelsea, where I can't remember who he beat, he doesn't tend to beat a man, and that's the problem. Like if you're beating a man and getting a ball in, it's a different scenario. But I don't know.
So just had it mentioned in the chat about Garcia blocking his own teammate's shot. I think that he's referring to at the end of the game, the Douglas Luiz and him on the line where they should have made it 3-2, and it was literally comical. What they were doing there, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you.
To be fair, I missed that. I think I turned it off.
Did you? I won't recommend going back and watching it, and we probably won't spend too much time talking on it because it was absolutely calamitous between the two of them. They were literally on the line. It was an open goal and got in each other's way, basically. It was just pretty shit, to be honest with you.
It says it all, though, doesn't it? Everything seemed forced, and there's been a lot of analysis about it today. Obviously, Jacob Tanswell has done a piece on it. I can't remember who else. There was one of the sort of analysis pages on Twitter did a piece about it. The reason why Unai Emery was so annoyed for that second goal is Leon Bailey trying to force an attack when we were outnumbered. And I think that's the problem with Villa is there's too many times we try and force something.
Yeah, I agree with you. Leon Bailey, it's frustrating, isn't it? Do you know what? Obviously, the thing that winds people up, including myself, a lot of Villa fans, is the fact that obviously we brought Guessand in as meant to be on that for that right channel. We brought obviously Daniel Marlon in for the football club, and then we ended up going back to Leon Bailey. Daniel Marlon's gone to Roma. Yes, he's playing as a number 9, and he's doing very well. He's scoring goals. Guessand looks a completely different player at Crystal Palace. So clearly, the recruitment strategy with those two players hasn't worked, and it's like, surely Daniel Marlon would have been a better option off that right wing than what Leon Bailey is. Like, Daniel Marlon has played so many times as a right winger in his career. But at Borussia Dortmund, he played a heavy amount of his games. I appreciate if Daniel Marlon wants to play as a number 9 and he sees himself as a number 9 going forward, then fair. But realistically, as a club, you have that player as a contract with your club. And if Daniel Marlon doesn't, if he's going to be there and he's going to play 90 minutes every game as a right winger, then surely he's going to be somewhat pleased. He's getting first team football. I just think he would have been much better option than bringing Leon Bailey back.
I completely agree, and I think as well it's that thing of, you could almost argue if Bailey's coming back, why not have them both? Similar to when Diaby was at the club. Like, obviously, when Diaby was at the club, that was Leon Bailey's best season. Like, that bit of pressure behind him, and maybe just have them two competing against each other. But like I say, the recruitment side of things has been absolutely terrible. The fact that by the end of the game we've got Andres Garcia playing right wing and Ian Max.
It's honking. Absolutely honking.
And another one, I've seen this so many times today, and I don't want to keep talking about it because we spent so much time talking about it. Harvey Elliott now, he's got 5 games where he can play for the rest of the season for us before that clause is activated or something like that. He can play in 4 out of the next 7 games, I think, because obviously one of them's Liverpool, so we can't play against Liverpool. Just do it. Play him in the Europa League. Play him every game in the Europa League. Play him in those games. And if he earns himself a contract, why not?
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, with Harvey Elliott situation is, like, obviously now he hasn't been playing that much. So naturally, in terms of his match fitness, it's going to be nowhere near the level of what you probably need at this stage. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with you, because surely Harvey Elliott's got to be a better option than what Emi Buendia is. He's got to be. Like, I'm sorry, but like, we've all look. Everybody in this stream now, everybody watching over on TikTok, we've all watched enough of Harvey Elliott to make a fair assessment that he's a good footballer. Yeah. Look what he did for England. I know it's the under-21s and it's a completely different level, but he's got it. He's a good player.
He makes a difference even for Liverpool when he came on. He was making a difference. And that's as a 21-year-old.
Mate. So, M23 has just said also, how much does Tammy have to do to start? I think we're all asking that question now about Tammy Abraham and as to why he isn't starting for Aston Villa. Like, look, I've always backed Ollie Watkins, and I've been one of the fans that will praise him and will try and defend him until the hills are like, you know what I mean, I will die on the sword, all that sort of mentality to defend Watkins. But even I'm at the point now where I can't defend him anymore. Like, he's fucking shit. Like, he had that, you know what really epitomised what Watkins for me was in that first half when he faced up Harry Maguire. Now, Harry Maguire, brilliant player in my opinion. He'll head absolutely everything. He defends like a Trojan. but realistically, he's slow and he turns like a JCB. But he just bullied Watkins. Watkins couldn't get past him. And then the one time when Watkins was running and he was running, he outpaced him.
Yeah, there's definitely a massive lack of confidence there. And I think it's such a difficult scenario we've got now because me and you spoke about this offline with Tammy. Is Tammy even the answer? I mean, he's come on yesterday for 30 minutes, and he just was terrible. Let's say how it was. He was terrible yesterday. He didn't do enough, and don't get me wrong. I know it's not fair to judge him on 30 minutes. He's obviously started a couple of games. He scored against Newcastle, scored against Brentford, which was obviously disallowed. My only concern with Tammy is he doesn't do enough off the ball. He's very much the ball needs to be played into him sort of striker. He won't make those runs off the ball, and it's like that's fine if he's not going to do that, as long as the players who are around him, i.e., you've got Sancho, Rodgers, Buendia, whoever it is, if they're going to be making runs past him, you can use Tammy in that aspect. But they don't do that, and that's one of the biggest concerns we have as a football club is we're not able to adapt when Tammy comes on. When Tammy comes on, we still play the same way.
Obviously, breaking news has just come out, which isn't Villa related, but kind of affects us in a way, obviously, because Villa are in direct competition with them. Chelsea have just been hit with a £10 million fine and a 1-year transfer ban by the Premier League.
What for?
It relates to alleged breaches of financial rules during Roman Abramovich's time as an owner.
Brilliant, yeah. And we still have to try and compete with them when they've spent all the money in between. Says how it is, really, doesn't it? Let's wait until 5 years down the line after he's left the club, and we still got to try and compete with that. Brilliant.
Yeah, and when FFP is in place. Look, I'm not going to sit here and berate PSR and talk about PSR till this, because we could talk about it until we're blue in the face. Ultimately, yes, we are having to compete with that, but let's just part that to the side, because we could start thinking, oh, PSR, Manchester United spent 200 plus million in the summer. They brought in Lamans, Sesko, Cunha, and Brian Burmo, so naturally they're going to be able to compete at a higher standard. I think what people aren't taking into consideration and what people aren't really grasping here is, look, Manchester United were never a bad football team. They've got individual players that are of a really high level, but realistically, when you had Ruben Amorim at the football club, who was poison. Let's be realistic and say how it is. He was poisonous for that football club, and he was running that football club into the ground. They've removed refer to him as a tumour to the football club, which may sound really harsh, but they've removed the tumour out of the football club. It's now a healthy running football club. Michael Carrick has come in, a player who knows the football club like the back of his hand. He's playing players in their correct position. Realistically, I think most people could have gone in there and done that. Oh, imagine my brainwaves I'm having here. I'm going to put Bruno Fernandes, one of the best number 10s in world football, at number 10. Wow. I'm going to play Amad Diallo as a winger and not a wing back. You know, it's not rocket science, this sort of stuff, is it?
It's not. And I think as well, the thing that you have to remember is, like you say, you speak about Cunha, you speak about Mbeumo, people like that coming in. The one thing that they've done so well is the way they've invested their money, because the two players that stood out yesterday were Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. Those are players that they spent money on a long time ago that are still producing. Like, I always find it funny, this narrative of half of Unai Emery's team is a Dean Smith team. I don't see that as a negative. Because for me, you're looking at that as longevity. At the end of the day, if you've got a player who you sign when you're 25 and they're still playing for your club when they're 32, John McGinn, for example, that's not a bad thing. Bruno Fernandes, he signed for Man United, 9 years ago?
Yeah.
And he still plays for Man United. You don't look at that as a bad option. Don't get me wrong, I understand that Tyrone Mings and John McGinn aren't the same level as Bruno Fernandes, but the level that Unai Emery took them to is completely different. Ezri Konsa is an example. Ezri Konsa came in the first season we were back in the Premier League. The level that Unai Emery took him to, bar the last few months, was one of the best centre-backs in Europe.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I will argue and counter argue, which is obviously we're not Manchester United and we aren't in a position where we can spend willy-nilly on players left, right and centre. We can't afford to go and spend 50 million on Amadou Onana and it not work. We can't. Like Manchester United can. They can have these players. Like Ugarte cost them like around 50 million pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it was around that sort of thing. And he's absolutely wank. So if they can go and do that on a player like that, and they can constantly do it and churn it out, whereas we can't. So our recruitment has to be spot on to be able to even compete, which is kind of the sad state of affairs that we're in. I think one thing that we haven't done right as a football club and where we've had some failings is when these players have hit their peak. Now, Unai Emery come out and said a while ago that we as Villa fans need to be ready and need to be aware that we will sell players when their players hit the peak. I don't think we have acted and sold certain players when we should have. Ollie Watkins, prime example. When Arsenal come in for him in that January transfer window, and we had him or Duran to sell, and we sold Duran. Look, I think moving Duran on was the right decision long term. But I think at that point he probably could have moved Watkins on, because Watkins was aging, and if you're getting offered 60 million for what we did for Watkins at that time, and he weren't exactly pulling up trees. Watkins wasn't at that time. Realistically, Duran was arguably, in some people's eyes, our best striker at that time. If you'd have got that £60 million, £50 million fee for him, then you are not getting anywhere near that now. You'd be lucky to even get half of it.
I think you're spot on. I think we've been too stubborn when we haven't needed to be. I think the reason we didn't sell Watkins was because of 10 million. I think Arsenal were only willing to go to 50 million or something instead of the 60 that we wanted. Martinez is another one where Man United were only willing to pay 20 million instead of the 30 million we wanted. And you look at it now and say, because of that, we've then had to sell Diaby. We've then had to sell Jacob Ramsey, who we didn't want to sell because we've been too stubborn on players that probably are aging and going out. And I think one thing to be mentioning about our transfer strategy is obviously we started signing these young players to sell them on.
Shit.
We've overachieved on the pitch. But the problem is we've overachieved on the pitch as well. Because of what we've done, I think we've tried to do this whole sort of Brighton-Brentford method where we're mid-table, mid to sort of high end of the table, like Brentford are doing well at the moment, sort of European challenging, and signing these young players with the hopes of, they'll play a couple seasons for Villa, we'll sell them on for profit, and then eventually we can attack the top four. But what happened is that we've got to attack the top four. The players that we've signed haven't had the chance to play for us. It's like, well, we need a quick profit now. Kostan Adalkovic can go. Yajin Oshan can go. Hopefully, Cisse doesn't go because he looks a proper player. The one that's gone to Lask at the moment. But again, he'll probably go.
Yeah.
Alisson's another one.
Right,
who knows what's going to happen with him?
Well, he's a weird one, isn't it? The fact that Alisson's not even getting sniffed at for the team. For the squad, it's strange, isn't it, really, considering we need some sort of an option.
He wasn't in the squad on the weekend, was he?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's a weird one. Look, with all that in mind, I do want to kind of bring it down back down a level, because it does seem like at the moment we're just constantly berating the team, which is the angle I wanted to go down. Because, like I say, I don't think it was bad at times. When we got the equaliser to make it 1-1 from Ross Barkley or Onana's arse, because it probably did hit his arse. Anyway, like, we weren't bad, and we showed moments where I thought, you know what, we're going to go on and win this game here. Obviously, Tammy gets a chance in the centre of the box. His touch is fucking awful. It's terrible. But if he brings that down and he slots out, it's 2-1. And we were threatening. The sad thing is, like, when Bailey and Rodgers broke away, and neither of them decided to sprint back and try and help defend, and then we got caught out with Ezri Konsa not aware of his surroundings and where Cunha is. You can't lose Cunha there for me. That's disgraceful defending. But there was no pressure on the ball either. Like, with all due respect, Bruno Fernandes had the whole of the whole of Old Trafford to play. Where was Onana? In absolute no man's land, and he was probably the closest midfielder to that whole situation. Casemiro literally fed it into Bruno Fernandes like, yeah, mate, there's a 5-yard pass, just knock it in, like, sort of thing. But it is what it is. At times we were in the game pretty much most of the game. I think personally, and I've said it on TikTok, we lost that game because of one man, and that was Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes for me was by far the best player on that football pitch. He was the only, for me, world-class player on that football pitch. Like, he's a player that could go in any team in the world, in my opinion, as a number 10. He's that good. and he showed it. He got 2 assists. The third goal, the Sesko goal, he played the ball out to the wing. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And that's the reason why we lost yesterday. Nothing else. Because I think, realistically, apart from that, we were in the game.
Yeah, I mean, he tore us apart at Villa Park as well. It's just we got lucky that he got injured. And that's what sort of changed the game for us. I think
he tears us apart every time he plays against us, mate.
Yeah. The one thing that him yesterday reminded me of was a couple seasons ago with Trent Alexander-Arnold. And basically what I mean by that is we played against Liverpool, I think it was at Villa Park, and we made sure to not let Trent have any free space, and we got a point out of it. I think it was 1-1 or something like that, or 2-2 in the game. And then we played him at Anfield, and the complete opposite. We let Trent have free roam of the pitch, and he absolutely tore us apart, and I think we lost 3 or 4-0 that day. And it was the same with Bruno Fernandes. When you let players who have got that quality free, that's what happens. People do it with Morgan Rogers now. Yeah, people do. Morgan Rogers in that 11-game spell where we were doing brilliant. No one was picking him up. No one was picking him up, and he was able to have free rein on the pitch, and that's why he was doing what he was doing. Now, all they're doing is 2 men on him. Let Buendia have the ball. Let Douglas Luiz have the ball. Let Onana have the ball, because they know they haven't got the same qualities, and that's what's killing us. Whereas Man United, if you do that, the times where we did pick up Bruno Fernandes, for example, we left Casemiro free. Casemiro's a 5-time Champions League winner. Casemiro's one of the best number 6s to play the game. Never mind just in recent times, he's an unbelievable footballer. And we just let these players do whatever they want at Old Trafford at a home stadium. That's what like I said, Fernandes is arguably one of the best players in the world, and you can't let someone like that on that he has.
Right, I do apologise for Corey's internet there if that was all laggy for you, because it was very laggy my end. We will try and sort out Corey's internet before the next time we go live. But I made it out kind of what he was going on about around Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro and time on the ball and whatnot. You are right. Like, ultimately, if you give these players time on the ball, they're going to rip you apart. And that's kind of the crux of it. And that's kind of what we did in terms of Bruno Fernandes. But like I say, you still have to play the pass. You still have to put the ball in like he did from the set piece. He showed his quality. And he's a world-class player. But not to glaze a Manchester United player too much. Ultimately, we could have done things better ourselves. But ultimately, what I want to say is, Champions League qualification didn't rest on that result for me, because ultimately every single Villa fan, when the fixtures come out, you look at Manchester United away, and none of us look at it as like, that's a game we must win, because it's not. Look, we are in a position now where we're still in the top 4, lead going into the final few fixtures. And you look at these fixtures now, we've got West Ham at home, Nottingham Forest away, Sunderland at home, Fulham away, Spurs at home, Burnley away. This is where it kicks in now. I can't reiterate, and we'll do a pre-match build-up to the show, to the game, sorry. West Ham this weekend is massive, absolutely massive for me, because if we beat West Ham, that starts the momentum, that kick-starts our season, and then Yuri Tielemans will come into the squad, hopefully for the Forest game. May not start against Forest, but he may potentially feature. My understanding is, mid-April he will be back. Like, he could be back for the Forest, definitely. If not Forest, he'll be back for the Sunderland game. He's going to be a massive impact on the squad. Now, I think we need to win 5 out of our remaining games to get to secure it, because I don't see Chelsea and Liverpool winning as many. Liverpool maybe, but I don't see Chelsea winning as many as that. Their fixtures are very difficult. They've got Everton away next, Man City at home, Man United at home, Brighton away, Nottingham Forest at home, Liverpool away, Spurs at home, Sunderland away. All the teams around, every team in the Premier League, like I said to you offline, has got something to play for now. Like, people are saying, like, the West Ham game isn't going to be easy for us. So why do you think we're going to win that? We might not, but we need to. And if you think about it logically, Liverpool have got Brighton. If Brighton win, they put themselves back into a conversation of potentially qualifying for Europe themselves. If Everton beat Chelsea, they move to within 2 points of Chelsea. So Everton are in the race for Europa League. Like, everybody's got something to play for. We need to focus. We need to do our job. We need to beat West Ham at home this weekend. If we do that and focus on ourselves, we are still well within a shout of getting Champions League football. I just think everyone's very pissed off and upset because of the weekend, but when we spoke offline, you were very, like, if you don't mind me saying, but you were very upset and very heated over the result. I was quite flat, quite mellow, and the reason for that is I will get very animated and very pissed off and very infuriated in games which we should win, where we should put performance in, and where we perform terribly. But we went to Old Trafford, we held our own, and we weren't bad in a game which I thought realistically we're probably going to lose. If we've got anything, it's a bonus.
100%. I think, like I say, you look at West Ham game now, that's a crucial game for us. And I think the important thing is before any of that, it's Thursday. Thursday at Villa Park, we have to get that done, and it has to be a comfortable win. It needs to be something that gets the fans behind and just say, do you know what? It's a bit of a blip, but we're still doing something in Europe. We can still really... Because at the end of the day, like you say, we are fourth in the league. Mm-hmm. We're fourth in a league where... realistically, with our performance, we should probably be mid-table at the moment. Like, with the level we're playing at the moment, we should be. But we're still fourth. Okay, Man United have sort of pushed away from us now, and they're probably out of the picture. But you never know. They lose, and we can go back level on points with them sort of thing. But, like you say, Lille's important. If we can beat Lille 2-3-0 at Villa Park, or 3-1, whatever, get it done comfortably, we go into that game against West Ham, the fans are going to be behind the boys, that sort of thing. There's not going to be nerves. There's going to be fans thinking, you know what, we can go and win this game, get yourselves an early goal, and all of a sudden it's a complete change. Like you say, you go into that international break, Yuri Tielemans comes back. Okay, he might not feature straight away, but even if he comes on for 10-15 minutes, I can't remember which game it was in the Europa League where he came on for 10-15 minutes and he was brilliant. At the start of the season, it was somebody away. Was it Basel away?
It might be. It doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant who it was, but I do know. I know the game you're referring to.
But those are the sort of moments we need: is get yourselves a win against Lille, get it done comfortably, go into the West Ham game with a bit of confidence, get a win, whether it's a 1-0 shithouse win or 4-0, whatever. Go into the international break knowing that we're potentially 5 points clear of Chelsea, 5 points clear of Liverpool, even, or both. And then you go into the game against Forest, which we always know the Forest ground's a tough stadium for us. We've always struggled there. But Forest are shit. That's the truth. They aren't picking up points when they should. They should have beat Fulham yesterday and didn't. So we need to take advantage of that and say, right, it doesn't matter that these teams are trying to stay up. We've got something we're fighting for. Go into that game, say, right, West Ham we win, Forest we win, Sunderland at home we go and win. All of a sudden you get 3 wins on the bounce. We could be 8 points clear of Liverpool and Chelsea by the time the game against Spurs comes around. Like, that's what we need to do.
We need to, but actually doing it and putting it into action on the football pitch is a completely different thing, isn't it? But I think we'll wrap it up there, mate. So I think we've had a good chat about the game. We spoke about quite a lot of topics that we thought we would speak about. I just want to remind everyone we do have an ongoing giveaway for either match tickets or a shirt of your choice. All you need to do is smash that subscribe button and just make sure you drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed me and Corey having a rant about the Villa. And we will be back with a pre-match show for the West Ham game. And hopefully we'll be talking about a victory over the weekend against West Ham. Final one from me and Corey. As always,